I had trauma about going in the shower to wash my hair because it would just come out in clumps. And then the shower was all full of hair.
It's been a couple years for you now since you've graduated the program.
Look, I've got hair.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Manuel. I'm the co-host of Transform Table Talk Live. And today we have a very exciting interview for you coming to you from all the way on the other side of the world. We are talking to Natacha, who is in Japan and was not getting the help that she needed by visiting countless doctors there until she found Dr. Maggie. A little bit about what she was dealing with: extremely heavy, painful periods to the point that it was debilitating and she could not leave her house for several days every month. She was chronically cold, freezing cold, and her hair was falling out in clumps. That's just the tip of the iceberg, really, for the problems that she was dealing with. She's also got brittle nails. She was extremely fatigued. Oh, she could not function. She was so fatigued. But finally, through her own research and realizing that she probably needed help with a hormone expert, she was able to locate and find Dr. Maggie, again, on the other side of the world, to help her out. Very interesting to hear what it's like from an international perspective of somebody successfully going through the Transform program. I cannot wait for you to see how Natacha is doing today. Natacha, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Natacha, and I'm French, actually. But I live on the other side of the world. I live in Japan with my husband, who's Japanese, and our 6 kids. Yes.
6 children. So you
Yes.
are a very, very busy wife and mother. And your children, I know they range in age. It's a 10-year span of children. And
Yes.
something very interesting that each of your children was born in a different country.
My oldest son was born in Brazil. And then I met my husband in Uganda, and we had 2 kids there. And then we have one born in Thailand, and we have 2 born in Japan.
Well, let's talk about what was going on with you physically then, because I know it was so bad for you that there were several days every month that you just couldn't even leave the house. What was happening?
That was intense. So I had a stillbirth actually in 2013.
I'm so sorry.
After that, my periods just became insane. I was like bleeding very, very heavily every month, but so bad that I couldn't leave the house. I was in extreme pain, and it became my new normal to where I didn't even realize it was not normal. For 8 years that was happening, and I just took it as part of my routine. I couldn't schedule anything for 3 days out of the month. I had to literally stay home because I had to be close to the bathroom. Every 15 minutes I had to run. It was a disaster.
Not only were the periods so heavy, but it was also very painful.
Oh, it's so painful. I was just, on painkillers and with my hot water bottle, all curled up in bed and not able to do anything. It was nasty.
So it sounds like on a scale of 1 to 10, the pain that you were in every single month was pretty high. Where would you rate it?
Oh yeah, I would say 9, 10. It was excruciating.
And this went on, you said, for 8 years?
Yeah, for 8 years. And I actually honestly didn't think anything of it very much. But what started happening was I started becoming extremely cold. And I couldn't work in the office. My husband would have the aircon, and I'd be with a hat and scarf and coat. It looked ridiculous. It almost looked like a joke, but it was serious. I was just so freaking cold. And in Japan, winters are very cold, and you have like these little kerosene heaters in the house in each room. So if you go from one room to another, it's freezing. It's freaking freezing. So every winter I would experience extra coldness and not be able to sleep at night and not be all bundled up in my bed.
Okay, so just adding to the misery. So now not only are we in excruciating pain, but we're freezing cold in the winter especially, but even it sounds like in the summertime, if the AC
Yes, even in the summer with the aircon, yeah.
it would be miserable. So this was a year-round misery, and that started a few years back.
It was getting progressively worse. And then finally, I decided maybe I should do something about it and maybe ask a doctor. And, everybody does their own research online and like try to figure out what's wrong with you. And I thought, okay, well, if I have low iron, I could be anemic, and anemic makes you cold. So maybe that's what's wrong with me, So I went to find a doctor, and sure enough, I was so low that when I came back to get my test results, the doctor looks at me and he says, "How did you even make it here alive?" He didn't think I could even function because my iron level was so low. He was so surprised I made it to the doctor's office at all.
Were you able to then get help?
To a certain point, but he just kept increasing the iron, but nothing was happening. It wasn't getting much better, and he was a little confused. And then I asked
You were
him,
experiencing a tremendous amount of blood loss at the same time. So
I asked him, I said, "Do you think maybe it's because, every month I bleed quite heavy?" He goes, "Oh, maybe that could be an idea." And I said, "Should I go and see another doctor, like a gynecologist, and maybe he can figure it out?" He goes, "Oh yeah, maybe that's a good idea." So basically I was being my own doctor and trying to figure things out. So I did find another doctor who actually said I probably have adenomyosis. I don't know if that's how you say it.
Right. No, it is. And for people that don't know what that is, it's when the tissue that normally lines the uterus grows into the muscular wall. And it can be a very painful condition and debilitating. And it sounds like a lot of what you were experiencing.
Yeah. And he said my uterus is bigger than it's supposed to be. I only had 3 options. And one option was to get on the birth pill. The second option was to get a hysterectomy. And third option is to do nothing and see what happens.
Okay, so get on the pill, start removing organs, or stay living the way you are.
Exactly.
So you decided to go ahead and get on the birth control pill. How did that go?
It didn't go well at all. I experienced every side effect that's written on the back of the pack. You may experience this. I experienced all of them. High blood pressure, high cholesterol. My breasts were so sore I couldn't even walk down the stairs without, So then the doctor started getting concerned about my high blood pressure, my high cholesterol. He's saying, "Okay, you need to get out and jog every day." I'm like, I can't, I can't do that. It hurts my feet, I was just basically just going around in circles from doctor to doctor, trying to figure it out.
Like you were just getting Band-Aids put on. This is not a solution. And I'm curious to hear, what was that like living like this, unable to really get the help you needed and solve these problems once and for all?
It was the most frustrating experience ever. And it was also frustrating for my husband, who husbands always want to fix things. And he just didn't know how to fix things and make it better for me. And also, I didn't realize everything was connected until I met Dr. Maggie.
Hi, I'm Maggie UMD, and I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician and the creator of the Transform and Transform protocol. If you're interested in learning what are the root causes of all chronic disease, go ahead and click the link in the description where I have a power-packed 30-minute training that goes over what are the 5 pillars of Transform. Go ahead, click the link, and I'll see you in that training.
So Maggie did just text me and say that we could go ahead and share the way that you do know her. And it's because you and your husband actually have known her for a long time now, from a business perspective. You're involved in helping to edit all of the videos like the one we're watching right now. So you knew about Dr. Maggie for how many years would you say before deciding maybe she could help me?
Actually, it was just a few months. My husband was in a same kind of mastermind group as her, and he was sharing with the group what we do in our business, helping edit videos. And then she's like, "Oh, I could use some help." And so she became our client. We started editing her videos. And then my husband had, like an aha moment, "Here's Dr. Maggie. Maybe she can help you figure this out. There's a doctor who speaks English and she seems to be, well versed in many areas." I actually never heard the word autoimmune before. So I had no idea what that meant.
He's an expert in so many areas, though. And what I'm hearing from you is that you were in hormonal hell and you had a serious hormonal issue that needed addressing. So I imagine that was very attractive to you when learning about her.
Yes, for sure.
And I do want to make sure we don't forget to mention this. You were having major issues with your hair as well.
I had trauma about going in the shower to wash my hair because it would just come out in clumps. And then the shower was all full of hair. And I was like, "What's going on?
It's been a couple years for you now since you've graduated the program.
Look, I've got hair.
Your hair is looking wonderful. So I can tell that the hair loss has stopped.
Yes, definitely it stopped. And I'm amazed. Yeah. And I'm not cold anymore. That's just amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so the hair loss stopped. The chronically cold gone. You're a normal body temperature. You can actually sit like you are right now in the air conditioning, and you don't need to have a winter coat on.
Exactly. There are times that my husband's even more cold than I am. I'm like, whoa, that's a change. That never happened.
And then how is everything for you hormonally now?
Well, so Dr. Maggie, of course, shared all the, the downsides of being on the pill and how it's important not to be, especially after a certain age. So she was able through the program to help me get safely off the pill. Then the strong periods came back. So she said in my case, because of my condition, that getting an IUD was probably the best choice for me.
And has it worked out for you well?
Amazingly well. It actually stopped my periods altogether, which is, who doesn't mind that after
compared to what you were dealing with.
Exactly. Since that happened, I was able to build up my, iron back up to where it's, should be.
So you went from being in pain from 9 to 10 to then dealing with painful breasts and high blood pressure and high cholesterol and all these other problems to now, where would you say your pain level is?
Oh, almost none. And if it is there, it's like, 2 out of 10, but it's basically gone. Yes. It's amazing.
Gone. Your hair is better and you're not cold anymore. Okay. So I need to know then, how did this happen? What did you discover in the program that was such a game changer for you in turning all of this around?
Wow. The biggest thing was that through my lab work that she was able to diagnose me with Hashimoto's, which of course I had no idea I had.
Okay. Was that shocking for you?
Oh, extremely shocking. When it happened, I was like, what? What?
Like you almost didn't believe it.
I didn't believe it. That was amazing. And then, of course, through the program, getting off gluten, I had a really hard time. I was a little stubborn about it because, I'm French. I love my bread. It was difficult to think of giving it all up, but, I did. In Japan, a lot of things have soy sauce in it, and soy sauce has gluten. So a couple times I actually got gluten, and that was actually an amazing experience because then I realized, oh my God, it really does make a difference because whenever I got gluten, all the pain came back and it was just disaster until I could get rid of it again. But so now we're very strict, and the children are all lovely. They're all helping me. They always check every package whenever I buy something to make sure it's safe for mom.
Yeah, because I imagine that this has been a huge change for them as well, because I'm thinking about having 6 children. And if it was a few days out of every single month that mom couldn't function and mom was in pain and probably where you were trying to keep a happy face on for them, but they knew you were miserable. Now having a mom who is happy, who feels well, who is always able to go and do whatever activities are needed and enjoyable in their life. What has the shift been like in your family now that you are feeling so well?
Well, for them to, like you said, not see me in so much pain and struggling and even getting answers to, all the questions I have, because even though they're kids, they can tell, when something's up, and, they were always concerned, asking me. They become my gluten police, make sure I don't get gluten ever again.
I love it. And so what else did you discover about other foods that weren't agreeing with you that you probably never realized?
So in the program, we do food mapping, and it showed actually I had very little allergens, but the major one that stood out was all my dairy was off the charts.
Also painful for a woman from France.
So my cheese was gone, but it was worth it. It was worth the exchange that I got from that. So
did you imagine before that you had an issue with dairy?
I had no clue. Absolutely no idea. And I don't think I would have ever figured that one out.
And then what about things like ordering labs and getting supplements? Has that been something that you've been able to navigate abroad as well?
Actually, yes. The lab work, we were actually able to work directly with Dr. Maggie with that, which was really amazing, even during the Corona time where everything was closed. So we figured out a way together, which she was very accommodating and helpful with that. And even with the supplements, I was still able to order from her store without any problems.
That's amazing that you were able to do this program from Japan, because I know Dr. Maggie does have a very large international base, actually.
Mm.
What would you tell somebody who is in another country and is thinking, could I do that? Could I make that happen and work for me?
It's very doable, and Dr. Maggie's team is very accommodating and very helpful. If you're a person like me who struggled to find somebody that could figure things out, it's just an amazing experience. I would highly recommend it to anybody who's struggling with trying to figure things out.
You graduated the program now 2.5 years ago or so, I think.
Yeah, 2.5 years ago. Well, I joined the program 2.5 years ago. So yeah, a little less than 2.5 years ago, I graduated. Yeah.
And you have been able to, I guess, in that time frame as well, continue to monitor yourself.
Yeah.
And tell me about that.
So I actually still have Dr. Maggie's letter, that she writes to the doctors to help you out. And my doctors have it in the file. So every time I go, if there's a different doctor, I say, well, this doctor, is helping me with so I get by and I've been able to use it over and over again to be able to get these lab tests done. Sometimes you just have to wing it because some doctors don't understand what you're doing and why you want these lab work done, but you just have to go in with authority and know what you're doing, and it works. It's just great. Yeah.
And how appreciative are you that Dr. Maggie was able to uncover that you actually had Hashimoto's?
Yes. So because she was able to diagnose me, I actually found a thyroid doctor in Tokyo it's a big hospital that specializes only in thyroid. They're monitoring me every 6 months now because I'm more stable. And so things are going smoothly. And that's been great. But I would have never gone there ever in a million years because I wouldn't have figured that out for sure on my own.
And you had been going to doctor after doctor after doctor searching for answers, and not anybody decided to look into your thyroid?
No, nobody. And like I said, most of the things I was self-diagnosing myself and asking the doctor, do you think it could be this? Do you think it could be that? Nobody was being proactive and helping me trying to figure this out. So Dr. Maggie's been the only one to be able to help me then that way.
So it sounds like when you and your husband realized that she was probably the answer to solving your problems, you were very excited and wanted to move forward. I'm curious, though, if you had any reservations about joining the Transform program.
I did. I guess being a mom, I'm a penny pincher and I, make sure everybody's needs are met. And the price was definitely difficult to swallow, but it was so worth it that, we're not looking back in regret at all. It was worth the investment for sure. It's hard for me to put it into words, but it's something that we can't put a price on. It's been a lifesaver and a life changer for me.
He sees that Natacha again, the one with energy, with excitement, who is healthy, who can get out and do things. And I imagine that you guys are now able to get back to doing some of the things that you enjoy together.
Yes, we can. It's not like, is she going to be okay? Are we going to be able to make it? Now the questions are more like, okay, let's find that gluten-free restaurant. It's been a change of thinking, but it's still exciting.
I love it. He's on board though. He's helping to
absolutely. Like I said, it was hard for us to believe it at first, especially, about the gluten. But then when everybody saw the difference, like in night and day difference, then of course it's a no-brainer.
You're several years removed from this, but talking to you now, you would never know that was your life and that's how bad it was. So is it even possible to put into words how you're feeling, just emotionally now about how far you've come?
Yeah, actually, if I look back because sometimes you forget, especially when you go on with life as usual, like, okay, well, this is my new normal, and you forget how far you've come. Actually, I've gained respect for my body because my body's been through so much and it's still going. And I feel like it's been through so much and here we are, we're still going strong and, better than ever. It's changed my mindset a lot about, how I feel.
That's what I was just going to say. What I'm hearing from you is not only has this changed you physically, but it has changed your mindset. You sound like you really have made a shift in how you view yourself, your health, the world.
Yeah, for sure.
And what is that like for you?
It's relieving, and I feel like being myself is okay, and I'm me, and this is who I am, and I'm happy with it. I'm not really good at expressing my feelings.
No, that was a great way to express it, because I totally get what you're saying. You feel like it's okay to be you because you're whole and you're healthy
Yeah.
and your body is working as it should, because
Exactly.
you know
Yeah.
how to support it now. You're giving your body what it needs, and in turn, it's fueling you and it's keeping
Exactly.
you doing all of these activities that you enjoy living your life. So
Yeah.
what would you say to just anybody out there who is thinking about, okay, this program sounds really great, but would it work for me? Or, I like her, I worry about the cost. I don't know if I could take that risk.
You can't really put a price on health. It's, when you're not healthy, you can't do much. You're stuck and you have no idea that underlining everything is this other bigger thing that you didn't know you're actually struggling with or have a problem with. And if you're one of those people who really can't figure it out but want to, I'm sure with Dr. Maggie's help you can figure out what's wrong, because her experience in so many different areas, not just with thyroid or anything. The wealth of knowledge she has is I don't think I've ever found anybody like that, and I don't know if there is anybody else who could help you in that way. So
Unparalleled.
yeah, and it's totally worth it.
What did you think about working with Dr. Maggie specifically?
She's a fun person. She talks so fast, so you really have to focus and listen. You have to be ready. You have to be there with your notes and listen. And also, you don't want to miss any of the masterminds when you're in the program, because if you miss something, you really miss something, because there's always a little little nugget in there somewhere. You want to get all that information that's in there.
Dr. Maggie does say this program and what you're learning and how you're getting a master's degree in your health does not only positively impact you. Minimum impacts 3 generations. You, your parents, your siblings, and your children. It's pretty incredible. That's a pretty incredible feeling and a pretty incredible gift now that you're able to give to others.
And anybody who goes through the program will have that knowledge. So if you want to not just be told what's wrong, but to understand how, how things work and how everything is linked, then this is the way to do it.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share that we did not mention?
Well, like I said, I'm sure I'm not the only one out there who's never heard of the word autoimmune. So if you're scared and don't know what that is, or if you have an autoimmune disease, this is a way to figure that out too. In a foreign country, if you can't figure things out, really, this is help you can get, and it's out there, it's online, so you don't have to go and find a place physically. It's online, all the information is there. So the program makes everything so easy for you, so you don't have to struggle and figure things out on your own.
So you were mentioning, if you've never heard of autoimmune or you're struggling with mystery symptoms, listen, we learn in the program, diagnosis, great, but it actually doesn't matter, because Dr. Maggie can help you whether you have an autoimmune diagnosis or whether you don't have autoimmune, whether you have any kind of mystery symptom that I'm telling you other doctors haven't been able to crack or haven't been able to help you to your satisfaction. This is the place. And that's what I witnessed personally when I was going through the program. And I'm sure you saw the same thing, not only in yourself, but in those you mentioned going through that community with you.
Yes, for sure.
Well, Natacha, I am so thrilled for you that you have your energy back, that your hair is growing luscious locks. That you don't feel so cold, that you're not in this incredible pain every month, that you're able to live your life. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very appreciative. Very, very appreciative.
I'm so happy for Natacha. No more heavy, painful periods. No more hair falling out in clumps. I know how depressing that can be personally as well. And she doesn't feel that chronically chilled, cold, freezing feeling anymore. And the fatigue is gone. She's able to exercise, swim laps, and do aerobics classes. This has truly changed her life. And she mentioned it's not only changed her life, but changed the lives of those around her, several different generations and her friends. And I think that is a really special aspect to the Transform program, that this is an investment in you, but you're able to help so many other people, including yourself though, right? She's got her life back, and now she can hang out with her 6 children and her husband and just live her life in a fun, happy, productive, and energized way.
Hi, and thank you for watching this video. If you're interested in actively looking for a solution to your problem and you'd like to work with us, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and click the link in the description to book a chat with our team. What that's going to do is it's going to bring you to a calendar, pick a time that's going to suit your needs best. It's going to be about a 15-minute phone call. After you book that call, there's going to be a link to a short questionnaire, and that's really important for you to fill out because it's for us to get to know you better and helps us to better prepare to make the most of our time together. After you fill out the short application, it's going to take you to a page where there's a couple resources. What I want you to do is go ahead and click 2 of those and watch those 2 trainings. They're going to really best prepare you for your phone call with us to make the best use of our time together. I and my team look forward to talking to you to learn more about you, to see if we are